Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a deeply emotional, incredibly complex question of identity that's facing the global Nepali diaspora right now. It's a topic that literally touches millions of lives all over the world, sitting right at this messy intersection of law, culture, and, well, personal belonging. We're looking at a profoundly compelling source document today that asks some seriously hard questions about what it truly means to be Nepali in the 21st century.
So, we have to ask the big question. Will the children and the grandchildren of non-resident Nepalis actually remain connected to the ancestral home of their parents? That's a heavy thought, right? Millions of Nepalese have settled globally, building lives, raising families, taking on entirely new nationalities in places like Canada, the US, the UK, Australia, the Middle East. But for so many of them, Nepal is definitely not just a birthplace on a passport. It's home. It's home in their hearts.
And the source material brilliantly illustrates the emotional paradox of the diaspora here. Think about it. On one hand, you might be treated as an immigrant or a minority in your new country of residence. But on the other hand, when you return to Nepal holding a foreign passport, you can legally and socially be treated as a complete foreigner. It's like you end up caught between two worlds, never quite fully belonging to either one. Now, to really understand the full picture, we first need to get clear on what an NRN actually is. So, non-resident Nepalis are simply people of Nepali origin who live abroad. Many of them have gained foreign citizenship and put down really deep roots in other nations. We aren't just talking about folks taking extended vacations, we're talking about a massive, highly established global community. We mean doctors, engineers, entrepreneurs, and community leaders all over the globe.
Okay, here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover 1. The global Nepali dilemma, 2. The view from Nepal, 3. Voices of the diaspora, 4. The citizenship debate, and finally, 5. Building meaningful bridges.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the global Nepali dilemma, beyond just a citizenship debate. We need to start with the big picture, because listen, this isn't just some dry, boring legal argument about passports and visas. No, it is a profound discussion about identity, dignity, and honestly, Nepal's long-term future. The crucial point here is that children born abroad live between worlds. They hold these hyphenated identities shaped by both their birth country and their Nepali heritage. The source text makes a really beautiful point. Identity does not have to be a competition. Actually, scratch that. It shouldn't be a competition at all. A young person shouldn't be forced to choose just one label. They can fully embrace being Canadian or American or Australian while still authentically carrying that Nepali identity. Which brings us to Section 2, the view from Nepal. Government and local realities.
Now, to get the whole story, we absolutely must look at the view from within Nepal, starting with everyday citizens and the really complex realities the government has to manage. Folks who stayed in Nepal face intense daily struggles. They're navigating unemployment, rising living costs, weak public services, and even natural disasters. And a lot of them just didn't have the option to leave. They stayed, they do the work, they pay taxes, and they hold society together from the inside. Naturally, those daily lived experiences heavily color their view of those who left and build comfortable lives abroad.
And this local sentiment brings up a highly valid concern about fairness. It's a tough question, but it's a fair one. Locals worry that wealthy NRNs with strong foreign incomes might just return for holidays or investments. The fear is they could inflate local land prices and gain influence, all without having to shoulder any of the heavy, day-to-day burdens of life in Nepal.
So let's shift gears to Section 3, Voices of the Diaspora, Parents and Children.
It is absolutely vital to remember that a lot of people left not because they stopped loving Nepal, but for really vital reasons, like education, safety, providing for family, or literally just survival. There's a quote in the source that really captures the heart of the NRN experience. "My passport may have changed, but my roots have not." For a lot of NRN parents, taking a foreign passport was just a practical necessity. It was about stability. But their emotional desire to invest, to retire in Nepal, and to just seamlessly visit family back home, that remains incredibly strong. They don't want to go back to their homeland and feel like tourists.
However, there is a bit of a reality check here for parents. They really need to realize that a genuine connection for the second generation requires actual lived experiences and an understanding of Nepal's realities, not just its holidays. You can't just pass down momos and Dashian celebrations and expect this deep, unbreakable bond to form. True connection means teaching the history, the social struggles, and fostering a deep, genuine respect for the people who are actually living there day in and day out.
All right, moving on to Section 4,
The Citizenship Debate, Navigating Rights and Sovereignty.
This clash brings us into a highly sensitive space. How do you balance the emotional desire of the diaspora for dual citizenship with the structural, sovereign reality of the state? It's fascinating how the practical things the diaspora wants contrast directly against the very real inequalities the government has to prevent. Look, NRNs are asking for practical bridges, easier travel, the right to invest, and the right to own property. But on the flip side, the government has a constitutional duty to protect national sovereignty, prevent the misuse of wealth by foreign passport holders, and make absolutely sure that people who don't actually live in Nepal aren't unfairly swaying local elections.
So the central debate asks this: could a special legal status offer economic and cultural rights while firmly limiting voting or high political office to permanent residents? Basically, can you create an NRN citizenship that gives the diaspora the dignity and practical access they are craving without handing over the keys to the nation's political future? The goal here, according to the source, isn't about giving out special privileges, it's just about building a practical bridge.
And that leads perfectly into our final section, Section 5, Building Meaningful Bridges, Constructive Connections for the Future.
As we look forward, we've got to focus on actionable solutions, because Nepal simply cannot assume that the next generation of global youth will automatically remain connected out of some lingering sense of guilt or duty. Let's be real, a relationship built on pressure is going to fail. Instead, we need a complete paradigm shift. First off, remove the guilt of migration. People move, it's just a fact of our modern world. Second, the diaspora and locals have got to start viewing each other as partners with mutual respect. And third, Nepal needs to offer concrete, meaningful reasons for the diaspora to engage, fully acknowledging that Nepalis carry their phenomenal skills and rich culture wherever they go.
To actually build these bridges, Nepal has to proactively open its doors through some fantastic, tangible programs. Instead of just demanding loyalty, Nepal can invite youth to actually participate through heritage visits, online language programs, and local internships. Just imagine a global digital community connecting diaspora youth with locals to build businesses or solve real social problems. Connection has to be an active, mutually beneficial process.
Ultimately, a country cannot call you a foreigner and then ask why you forgot them. It's a two-way street. That leaves us with this vital, highly provocative question to ponder. How should Nepal legally and culturally embrace its global children? Should stronger connections be offered? And honestly, what happens to the nation's future if they aren't? It is a fascinating dilemma, and one that is for sure going to shape the identity of millions for generations to come. Thanks so much for exploring this explainer with me today.